Maybe we die when our dreams die. That moment when we realize that we're no longer in a space of perseverance and when we've lost our sense of resilience and we look up and years have gone by and the many ideas that we didn't act upon, the opportunities that we were too skeptical to take, right? Because I think that after certain traumas, after certain hardships, sometimes you can be a little cynical. Sometimes you can be in a space where you're struggling to believe that any good thing or any miraculous thing could actually happen. And it's really just a testing of faith at the end of the day. But I think that that's something that I've noticed with a lot of people, and even when I'm dealing with people and they're just giving me such a hard time, I feel as though I'm not vibing out with them or whatever the case may be. I realize that they probably would be different if they had their heart desires. If the one thing that they were longing for was theirs in their possession, and if it came into fruition for them, life would be completely different. I think our ability to relate to one another and just be there for one another has been crippled and stifled. And I think that we've lost the joy of connection and, the art and in relation, It really sucks, honestly, growing up poor, growing up in a middle class or even lower class, you know what I mean? Because everybody is in survival mode. And you don't really get to live and to truly express yourself in that way, And even though, of course, we like to think that everything is just merely a choice, but sometimes we act subconsciously. So, a lot of that's rooted in belief. But for a lot of people, growing up like that, it's actually the reality. You know what I mean? And it's tough and it's disheartening in every way, because a lot of kids don't get to live their dreams. Right? They have to assume the responsibilities of life and the realities of life, right? And when it comes to spirituality and meditation, like I said, this is all stuff that's new, but some people never find that information. Some people never find their spiritual connection and that true sense of spirituality. You know what I mean? And can you blame them when the information is not necessarily readily available to them? I think it's different, growing up. If you've never seen something, if you've never heard of something, you don't know. How can you feel like it's not possible, Sometimes I think when it comes to a particular dream, especially, it can be, it's such a waiting process, right? And it takes so much faith and determination and just a whole lot of things. I think a lot of it is mental, in order to make your dreams become, something that's fulfilling. And I really just kind of feel like it's like when you want to do something that's never been done before, you don't even know which way to go. You know what I mean? And I think the moment that you do give up and the moment that you decline, is the moment that your dreams actually start to die. And I've experienced this in my life, believe it or not, right? All these dreams, right? And I've always been the type of person that I said to myself, I feel as though wherever I go, right? It doesn't matter where I go. If I go to San Diego, if I go to, Baton Rouge, wherever I go in on this earth, I know that I will be okay, right? Because I was somebody who was imaginative, and I'm so thankful that I never let my imagination die, And I think this is the sad part about growing up and our dreams dying, is because when our imaginations die, we have no ability to see beyond what is, right? And I'm going to actually use this as an example with women, because I know a lot of times it's so much noise around potential and, you don't want to do this for potential and you don't want to do that for potential. I think a lot of that gets in your mind. And I think the sad part about all of this negativity that's constantly spewed, everybody has a negative experience to share. It's that right there that our minds gravitate towards. It becomes louder and louder and even more roaring in our spirit, and it becomes our truth. We take it on as our perceptions, and we try to be mindful not to make those decisions, right? So we want to yield away from that, but we don't realize that we're not really living. I don't really think that it's possible. How can you do something without seeing beyond what it is? That's not very creative. I think that goes against the entire creative process. Quite frankly, how can I do something and I don't see the end goal of this? How can I do something and not see what this is? And we talk about how when it comes to focus, right, we understand that what we focus on will grow, right? And so my thing, and what I just failed to understand, is how, we so easily take these memes and all of this stuff that's going around, but we don't really have a true sense of like application when it comes to these principles and when it comes to these statements, whether it be, fact or opinion. And I think that's another dream killer, right? You can't listen to everybody. Everybody's journey is so different. This spirit of comparison and the spirit of just confusion is just so perpetuating, like it's crazy to me. You know what I mean? It's almost like impossible to live your life because you have so much noise. You have so many other comparisons and opinions. I look at certain things and certain conversations people have, and to me, it's not even coming from a dream state. It's not coming from a faith walk. It's coming from something that is just it's shallow. It's so shallow. And honestly, me and my grandfather talk about this. My grandfather is, he's okay, right? He's okay. He's 65. And, he is diagnosed with cancer, and we talk a lot about life, and I'm just going to share that. We talk a lot about life, and, one of the things that I understand about life in regards to death and life and death, right, is the line, the gap in between the two is actually so thin, right? And I think when you're in your 20s, or when you're, I don't know, whatever age, right, you think that there's so much time, and you think that there's so much you just think differently about it, versus when you're on the opposite end, right? Like whether you are young, you obviously have a different opinion about life. And I think that's beautiful and that's miraculous and that should be, right? Versus when you died, you have a completely different perspective in regards to life and what it could be and what it is, And one of the things that me and my grandfather talk about is just how at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter what you've done. It doesn't matter, what you've accomplished, right? At the end of the day, it matters who you impacted and who you affected, whose life did you change, who made your life better, even if it was just for a season. You know what I mean? And I think that's where we miss it on the mark, because I think from the beginning, right, it's like, okay, it's la la loopsy, right? And then you hit like a certain age where you're like, I gotta grind, I gotta go, I want to make things different for my family, right? And then it's almost like you look up and you're like, holy crap, So I do think that when it comes to the statement, you can have it all. I think that you can have it all, but probably not all at once, right? Because I feel like when it comes to having something all at once, it becomes a little like foreboding, like it's a little overwhelming to have it all at once, right? And so I think the beautiful thing about seasons is staying present and staying focused. And this is something that I have definitely struggled with in just regards to just present sense. I think for myself, I knew especially, I really struggled with my past, and it was more so like a continuous reminder of the mistakes that I had made and the things that didn't work out and the things that, and so being in that mindset is so crippling because you can't move forward. You're like stuck. Right? You're stuck. You don't want to move forward because you're afraid you're going to make the same decisions that you may have made previously, right? And if you do move forward, you're kind of in a continuous state of just like cynicism, and you're like thinking everything is going to go wrong, and so it's really horrible. And so when you just kind of realize all you have is now, and I'm reading this book, it's I've read it before. I think it's just the seven spiritual laws of success by Deepak Chopra. Such a good book. I love his philosophy and just everything that he stands for. It's great. But anyways, you guys, listen. when it comes to being present, it's just, I've learned that just being in the moment in regards to like decision making and all of that can eliminate anxiety. Like it really can eliminate your anxiety. You can decide to choose this moment to create something. You can decide to choose this moment to share something about your story. And let me tell you this. I know for myself, when I've had people reach out to me and tell me good things about my podcast, good things about my book, good thing about my blog, like to me, that was what mattered. You know what I mean? And I think even about the times when I listen to certain artists, whether it's their music or whatever, and I'm vibing out with them, and you know they share something so vulnerable, or they share something that's so, you know what I mean, and it's so touching, and it's like a light in my life, you know. And I think that that's what it's really all about, you know. And I think that yes, we're gonna have things in life that we're gonna go through, and that's just inevitable. Like you can't you know what I mean. I think about myself, I'm like, you know, I've had plans, you know, but at the same time I realize that there is definitely something a little bit greater, right? I can't even say a little bit, right? That would just be so like downplaying the situation. There is something greater that is guiding me. And I know that for a fact, because everything that I wanted to do and I planned to do and I thought I should do, I look at where I'm at now and it's actually a whole lot better, you know? It's a lot better. And I think that for anybody who feels as though their dreams are gone and shattered, understand that you can dream a new dream, right? And if it was your dream, if it wasn't somebody else's dream, because a lot of times people put their dreams into us, you know, people will make us feel like we have to be something, you know, for them to feel like something, or they want to live through us, or they want to, you know what I mean? And so if it was your dream, if it was your God-given dream, then pray to God that he resurrected. You know, and you'll start to see the visions that you once had, and you'll start to see that if it's your dream, and you got to take the first step in the right direction. Okay. So that's just kind of like what I feel. And those were some thoughts I was having this morning. I'm getting ready to actually make some, biscuits and gravy. So I'm going to fry some mushrooms. I'm going to deep fry them, get them all nice and crunchy, like some chicken, because y'all know I don't eat meat. And I'm actually going to use flour this time, because usually if I fry stuff, I always use, I actually never use flour now, I think, because I don't fry veggies and things like that. I usually just fry fish, and I use Andes. I'm actually going to start cooking on my YouTube channel too, you guys. So I'm going to leave that in the description as well. Make sure you check out my book Seasons. It's at JaylenLeslie.com. I could leave y'all with the link tree and just let you kind of do what you do, but it's fine. I'll just leave the 2 separate links. And listen, it doesn't have to be this way. You know, it doesn't have to be this way. I know sometimes things get so hard, and sometimes it's like we find ourselves even going back to old habits. We find ourselves just doing things that we're not proud of or whatever. Understand that you are a spirit, but you are in a human body. Okay. Your human body is fallible. Okay. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to miss it sometimes. You're going to fail. It is what it is. But in your spirit, you're strong. You know, in your spirit, you're all of the things that you need to be for right now. Okay. And you're evolving, and it's beautiful. You know, I'm sitting here looking at the rain. I can't wait to go outside and walk my dog and just enjoy this morning. You know what I mean? Just enjoy this morning of peace. And, you know, for anybody who has been struggling mentally, which I think a lot of people have, the best thing I can tell you is to just be mindful of what you say. Right? Try to watch what you say before you say it. When someone says, "Oh, how's your day going?" "Oh man, don't go there." Right? Catch yourself. This is a good day. Or even if you blurt it out because it's habitual, right? People say how your day going. It's habitual for you at this point to say, "Oh man, this is," you know what I mean? You're going down this downward spiral. Check yourself and say something different. And I think that's where we can really start the process of like reprogramming our minds and renewing our minds, and, you know, being mindful of the things that we watch, the things that we read, the things that we see. You know, I know for myself, going online, it's really just seeking some connection, right? I just want to talk to people. Oh, people are up in the world, right? Everybody's kind of cooped up in their home. I live alone, and anybody else who may live alone, right? So it's like you don't have that. And I know me, I grew up big family, right? I'm used to noise. I'm used to having people in my house. I'm used to having people, and so it wasn't necessarily a feeling of like inadequacy. It was more so just a feeling of discomfort, a feeling of like, oh, okay, connections matter, right? And sometimes I know there's people out there who don't even have people to call them and even reach out to them and just have a conversation, and so it's tough, it's really tough. Like these times that we're going through is so tough, but it's revolutionary. And, if you are somebody who wants to create a podcast, or if you're somebody who wants to do something that can really help other people, please do it. Please do it. Get out there, do it. Share what it is that even if you want to teach on math, right? I think that kids need tutors. So you can make a YouTube channel strictly for kids who want to teach. Okay, hopefully that was something for somebody. All right. For kids who, they need to learn certain things, they need to learn about math. Maybe you have kids and what they're learning today, it's like, oh my God, I don't even know, right? Because I know for me, it was like, hold up, look, the fifth graders, what y'all doing? That was something I didn't do. You know what I mean? It's crazy how the times change, but yeah, like whatever you want to do, just try to act on your ideas, let that be your guiding light, and don't think so much about it. I think the fear is really just conjured up in all of you're thinking too much. You're thinking too much in regards to what it is going to be. Like, just do it. Have fun with it, and my biggest thing is always like creation. I say that all the time. Like, I am big on creation. I love creating things. That's what I do, right? That's just what I do. Like, I don't really want to step into the space. Like, anytime I try to do something and I'm like, oh, okay, I got to do this. Let me get this done for this, right? No, for me personally, what drives me is creation. So being somebody who's creative, being somebody who's imaginative, I'm like, I can't wait to create that, right? I can't wait to create my new bedding set, right? If you guys follow me on Instagram, I did a room tour in my reel where I showed you guys like my bedroom and how I created everything in here. It was so much fun. Versus for me, I can't, like, I had to reprogram my mind. Like, I can't tell myself, like, do this because, you know what I mean? Like, I have to have fun while I'm doing it. And that's why I mostly only create things, because I'm an artist and that's what I love to do. That's what fuels me, right? And when I think about it and I think about how beautiful it'll be, right? And this goes back to what I was saying about being imaginative. Like, there's no way I could see a chair or see a dresser or see something and see it for what it is and be like, oh, well, what am I going to do with that? You see what I mean? And I think that right there is where it's gone wrong. And I really do feel like when you focus on what it is that you want, right, it really magnetizes. It magnetizes it. It maximizes. Okay, so focus on that. Okay, and I hope everybody has a very prosperous week. If nothing else, start small. I always say start small. It doesn't always have to be something in the physical sense. Just start eating different foods, trying different things. I've been doing this thing where I try different things and now I'm just like all over the place. Like, I love trying new things. That's why I told you guys I'm making this vegan veggie biscuits and gravy for breakfast today. Like, I just, like, that's just so much fun. And be mindful of the music that you're listening to. Sometimes it's okay to just cut off some of the artists that we love, right? I think that when it comes to people's stories and their things that they go through, it's beautiful, it's relatable. But a lot of times, sitting in that space of pain can just be so cumbersome. Like, I think it's beautiful to actually get out of that space sometimes and just kind of listen to something that may be a little bit more uplifting, rely on your faith, like tap into some of those things, that could really help just your mindset and grounding you, instead of always kind of being in a space of pain. Because I think that the world is full of pain right now, especially, right? We're all going through so much loss and so many things are changing, and that's continuous, right? So just find what grounds you, lean to that, dream again, dream bigger. You know what I mean? Know it's possible, and don't worry about the how. I listen to everybody who's ever fulfilled their dreams. They say, don't worry about the how, right? You just do what you want to do in this moment that makes sense, that may just put you a step closer, right? And the truth is that you don't ever really know. Because I know for me, I never knew that I would write a book. I never thought about it. Like, now, don't get me, I know I thought about it. Like, when I was like, and it was when the Sierra's Goodies album came out, right? Y'all remember that? And I do remember with my cousin, we were sitting down writing a book. We were saying we were going to write a book. We were little, right? And I think we were just like writing on paper. But that was it. That was the one time I think I thought I was going to write a book, but I didn't actually move forward in my life with that. You see what I mean? And so in summary, you never know where you're going to end up. But I really believe if you believe in God, then you know he's going to take care of you. And I think that's like all you need for right now. Okay. So understand that you can dream a new dream, and it's okay if the dream looks a little different. You know, I know for myself, this is something I've struggled with greatly. Everybody who knows me knows I've always wanted to go to New York. Right. And I realized for myself, though that's still something I do want to do, it just looks a little different for me right now in this season, you know? And to me, that made me feel like I'm giving up on myself. That made me feel like I'm giving up on everything. You know what I mean? And it wasn't that. You know, I really didn't feel as though it was that. I really felt as though that was like something I was entrusting God with. I was praying about it and I kind of let it go. And now I'm here and I'm still working towards the things that I want to do. You see what I mean? So I think sometimes it may feel like, or it may look like we're giving up, but the truth is that we're really surrendering it to God, you know? So at the end of the day, I really do feel like when it comes to this journey of dreams, it's connections and it's God. Like, I don't even, you know what I mean? And I can't even really describe that in any other way. Honestly, like, it's connections, it's God. And understand too, like sometimes it's okay to come into somebody's life and say, hey, you know, how can I make this person's life a little bit better with what I have, right? It doesn't have to be on a large scale. You don't have to have millions. You don't have to have, you know, you could be making $15 an hour, $20 an hour, $10 an hour. Like, you know what I mean? It doesn't always have to be on that level, and it doesn't always have to be something that's tangible. Like, what can you use today that can enhance the lives of somebody else, whether it's your voice, whether it's your books, whether it's your writing, whether it's your story, whether, you know what I mean? Whatever it is. I mean, anything that kind of moves through you is a vessel from God for the most part, if it's a good thing. You know what I mean? So you just allowing God to use you, whether it be in your rim of gifts, whether it be in your story, whether it be in your testimony, is a light to everybody. So understand that you are needed. And, you know, just because your dream may not look like what you thought it was going to look like today doesn't mean that it's dead, you know, and understand that faith without works is dead. You got to put forth a little effort. You got to meet God halfway. Y'all, come on now. He is miraculous and he's omnipotent and God can do anything. But you got to put a little, you know, hey, you got to put a little oomph in it. You know, you got to give him at least a 1-2, you know, and just allow him to guide you. And, you know, it's definitely scary because you never know. But hey, I think that mustard seed of faith that's all he's requiring, right? And so I pray everybody has a good day today. Like, go out there and do something great. If it's just resting your body, that's great. Getting recharged for the Monday, the week that's ahead, you know. I'm going to make my breakfast now, and I hope everybody has a great day. Like I said that already, but this here, it's almost 30 minutes, so I'm really proud right now. I'm actually going to drop this on Monday. Let me see. Yeah, we're going to drop this on Monday. Today's Sunday. Okay, guys. I'm going to leave you guys with your thoughts.